Hey folks, this is Shane. Thanks for watching PT Bubbles, and we just completed our engine block strip down from the donor PT Cruiser, the Chrysler 2.4 turbo motor. We removed it and the transmission, and we just stripped everything off of the block. So at this point, I'm going to take that block to a machine shop where they're gonna mill it, hone it. It's going to be overboard, 2 1/100ths with some bigger pistons. Got new rods in there as well to give it more power and everything to handle also the larger turbocharger that I'm going to be putting into it. So that is happening to the block. And I also wanted to mention that one of the things, when I purchased the donor car, what I was told is that the engine had seized, and I was fine with that. I knew I was going to rebuild it anyway. And sure enough, when we got down into it, and you can probably see this in some of the footage, there is some scoring inside the piston walls and on the pistons themselves. I may not have gotten a lot of shots of the pistons, but it definitely had overheated and the pistons were rubbing on the walls, or the rings had, gotten messed up or something, but there was damage. So getting it bored out would have been necessary anyway to fix that. So that happened with the block. I'm also taking the head in and going to have new springs, new retainers, oversized intake valves. I'm going to stick with the same size exhaust valves. After a number of conversations with the machine shop, the technician there just felt like the oversized exhaust valves would cost so much to do the work, and it wouldn't be worth the effort. The cost of getting that done would be, over double the cost normally, and I would only see gains if I was doing really high RPM, 5, 6, 7,000 RPM racing a lot, which I'm not going to. I just want more boost, more power, but also a daily street driver, so I'm not looking for that high end of a race application. So I'm sticking with the stock exhaust valve size, but the head will also be milled. He's going to do some manual honing and boring of the head to clean it up and give it better airflow. That's really the big reason, is some better airflow. So anyway, the block and the head are going to be off for a while at that, and then we'll come back to reassembly of those motors to put into the green machine. Next, what I'm gonna post and have some videos to share is the engine and transmission removal out of the green machine, which is a naturally aspirated PT Cruiser right now. So you'll get to see some of that process and what is a little bit different between the turbo motor and a naturally aspirated motor when you're removing them. It's also going to be a little different because I'm not going to strip the motor down piece by piece as much as I did on the turbo motor. I want to leave this naturally aspirated motor intact as much as possible and just pull it out as a unit from the car, because it was running so well before the transmission is actually what had a problem. It was sort of a catalyst for me to start this project now. So I'll be removing the motor from there, and once that is done, the next big project that I'll put up as well is rebuilding the transmission. And as it turns out, I ended up rebuilding 2 transmissions. I rebuilt the one for the Turbo PT, the donor car, and that's the one I'm going to put in and use on this one. had some upgrades along the way that I can share when I did that as well. And then because I had enough spare transmission rebuild parts over when I was done with that, I went ahead and rebuilt this naturally aspirated PT Cruiser's transmission as well. And it's worth mentioning that they were identical. There was no difference at all in the transmission from the Turbo PT to the naturally aspirated. They were both 4.1 TE Chrysler transmissions. Nothing special that I've found at all between them. So I ended up doing upgrades on both of them. The one I'm going to put back in here, though, that'll go with the turbo motor, is hopefully slightly better, at least according to the parts that I got. I got these Ray Bestos clutch discs, which I think the whole point is they have more grip for shifting and that sort of thing. They were just a hair wider than the original clutch discs, so we'll see how the performance of that goes. I also upgraded the accumulators. There was some 1 or 2 upgrades to the throttle body. I'm sorry, not the throttle body, the valve body that I did. So the transmission should have some interesting changes. But anyway, we'll get there. So we'll do some transmission rebuilds. And then finally, I haven't yet gotten back the head and the block from the machine shop, but when I do, I'll start filming that and putting that up, and we'll get to the reassembly of the motor and the transmission, and see how it goes. Thanks again for watching PT Bubbles. This is Shane. See ya.